Hey YouTube, what is going on? Fallout here, and we just finished watching the Bungie dev live stream going over a little bit of information for the upcoming episode of Revenant. And after that, there was a little bit of info on Frontiers. And if you tune into the channel tomorrow, I'm going to try and do a very detailed recap video. If it was kind of too much, I'll go through it with a fine-tooth comb. But for today, they also mentioned that just in case we didn't have enough info to ram into our brain, they gave us a new article about next generation armor. Apparently, Bungie is going to be making heavy changes to armor in the future. We got a little bit of a taste of it in the live stream there. So why don't we just read the in-depth article and see what we got going on? Okay. Developer Insight, Next Generation Armor. Welcome to one of many Developer Insight articles for Codename Frontiers. Over the weeks and months to come, we will be covering a lot of different topics about changes coming to D2 next year with deeper dives. Okay, we've read this intro many times before. Okay, TLDR. Armor will be a more active, interesting part of build crafting. Stats will be reworked to be more impactful, less confusing, and less constraining. Set bonuses, which I think is a really cool idea, will be introduced to give individual armor sets more unique identities and build crafting elements. Cool. The problem. In the years since the last major update, Shadowkeep's Armor 2.0 armor has settled into a relatively static part of the reward story. That is true. When you have the right stat rolls, there's very little else to look forward to. True. And the intricate balance of stat values has a lock-in effect that makes it hard to want to swap anything out anyway. For armor to be exciting again, it needs some unique properties and stats to be easier to manage without so much need for fine-tuning. The solution. Reworked stat mechanics. Stats on armor will be changing in Codename Frontiers in order to make them more player-friendly. The first major change is the mechanics of the stats themselves. Stat effects will no longer be tiered every 10 points. That is a major change, by the way. Every point in a stat will provide a benefit. This change is intended to reduce the lock-in effect that happens when a fine-tuned combination of stat values makes it feel impossible to switch out any single armor piece. That is a really, really wild change. It will reduce frustration if you have an armor, like if you have a loadout and you're at like, oh, I'm at 99 Resil rather than 100, you know? Interesting change. Stat effects will be capped at 200, with the range from 101 to 200 providing an additional powerful effect, building on the base effect. This change is intended to support deeper investment in a smaller number of stats, and spikier stat distributions on armor with fewer secondary dump stats. That is crazy. They mentioned on the Bungie live stream that, for example, like 200 strength, there's a chance that you could get a second melee, like build into an additional melee attack. Basically, a free clause of Ahamkara. Shout out to Cross. In addition to the above changes, the distribution of stats on armor will also be changing. Legendary armor will have a stat archetype, which determines the primary and secondary stat types, with a third stat being a free roll. This is a lot of information. Let me read that. Legendary armor will have a stat archetype, which determines the primary and secondary stat types. So archetype like a weapon archetype? Third stat being a free roll. The value of these stats should be overall spikier, leading to fewer points in dump stats. The class slot, Hunter Cloak, Warlock Bond, Titan Mark, will have full stat distribution on par with other slots. Got it. Okay, we have a little preview here. Chesty. Strength 30, Intellect 10, Discipline 20, total 60. Hand cannon loader, improved hand cannon dexterity. Hand cannon loader, hand cannon dexterity on a chest piece? Brawler armor. Brawler armor archetypes have extreme melee and other close range capabilities. So we're changing it now, so rather than getting armor boost for every stat, including a dump stat, it's just confined to 3 total? Like only 3, maximum of 3 total. This is a big shakeup. Primary stat, strength. Secondary stat, discipline. Tertiary stat, intellect. This is crazy. We've gone back to T1. This is a very wild change. And then you have a set bonus down here. You see that set bonus, 2 out of 4 pieces? This is crazy. This is genuinely a very big change. Okay, the result will be a smaller number of unique stats on any piece of armor with larger contributions to these stats, and every stat point providing a benefit. These changes should ultimately make every piece of armor more interesting and easier to evaluate. This is a big risk for Bungie. People could end up loving or hating this. So far, I'm pretty interested. I'm pretty interested so far. I am kind of confused as to how... So they mentioned that the Brawler armor archetype has extreme melee and other close range capabilities. But what are those capabilities? I mean, yeah, you have strength as the primary stat. Is that just Brawler? Hey, a lot of strength. Because hand cannon loader and improved hand cannon dexterity don't really scream Brawler to me. Were those mods manually loaded into the armor? Because they don't look like they're here over here. Or are they baked into the armor? More on that at another time. We'll see. Just questions that we have right now. Okay, some stats will be changing with 3 goals in mind. 1, improve specific weak stats that offer little value. It's a good idea. 2, reduce or eliminate mandatory must-have stats. 3, overall, improve understandability of stats and their effects. These changes are still under active development, but here are a few examples from work-in-progress designs, which will eventually include most or all of the current stats found on armor. Discipline, from 1 to 100, provides increasing grenade cooldown reduction. Okay, from 101 to 200, provides an increasing chance to gain a bonus grenade charge whenever your grenade becomes available. That's so interesting. I wonder what the percent chance is. Like, what is the maximum? At 200, is it guaranteed? Is it like a 100% chance? Like from 1 to a 100%, so 200 discipline, you like guaranteed that extra grenade? Stat renamed to grenade. It's okay. It's a good idea. I mean, easier to not confuse the new players, right? Strength from 1 to 100 provides increasing melee cooldown reduction. From 101 to 200 provides an increasing chance to gain a bonus melee charge whenever your powered melee becomes available. Stat renamed to melee. Okay. Special ammo. From 1 to 100, rate at which special ammo bricks drop from final blows. From 101 to 200 provides an increasing chance that a double-sized brick will drop. Very, very interesting that you can have a special ammo stat on your armor. These are big changes. These are notable changes. Bungie's not playing around. Set bonuses. The second major change to armor is the introduction of a set bonus. Think of them like an origin trait for armor. They'll represent the theme of the armor and allow you to reflect that fantasy in the way your build plays. It's like very Diablo inspired, I feel. Set bonuses are perks granted when you equip 2 and 4 pieces of armor from the same set. This allows you to either commit to 2 bonuses from the same set or find combinations that fit your unique needs. It's kind of like a black and white cookie. You can go all chocolate, all vanilla. You can go chocolate and vanilla. Kind of like that idea. We're keeping both approaches in mind as they take shape and are excited to see what each Guardian chooses to do with these new tools. Note that there is no bonus at 5 pieces because most builds are expected to include a piece of exotic armor. That makes sense. Although it would be kind of interesting if it was like, oh, dude, if you get 5 of the set, you get like a crazy cool benefit. Although it would have to be really good to convince you to not wear exotic armor. As you'll see, perks will consist of other existing mods or will be newly designed. We've included a few examples below that represent the general direction we'd like to go. Okay. Theme, rank 1, 2 pieces. Rank 2, 4 pieces. Okay, Tex Mechanica. When shooting from the hip, you have increased movement speed and weapon handling. I like that. Effect increases when you score a hit. Okay. 4 pieces. Text Mechanica weapons have increased range and accuracy when hip fired. Nice. Okay. Non-stop aggression. Final blows with freshly reloaded weapons heal you. Freshly reloaded. Okay. Full power. Damaging a target with a shotgun or fusion rifle increases the damage it takes from those weapons for a short time. Okay. So like you're kind of weakening them, but only for a shotgun or fusion rifle shot. That could be interesting. Like if you're DPSing a boss with like Legend of Acreus with a non-stop aggression, that could be like an interesting DPS set of armor. I kind of like that. Okay. Demolition Expert. Direct hit with explosive weapons temporarily increase their reload speed. Very nice. Super obvious temptation for rocket launcher DPS loadout. Repeated direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase the grenade ability damage. That could be nice depending on what your grenade is for DPS rotation. Vanguard Operative. Activating your grenade gives you and nearby allies damage resist against combatants. That is really good. That is really good. Defeating champions with a finisher generates special ammo for you and your fire. This is crazy. Wow. The Vanguard Operative, that is going to run like GM Nightfalls. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good. I kind of like that. It's very strong on paper. Are there more, or are these just kind of like a sample? These are probably just a sample. I haven't received my emblem yet. They mentioned, y'all, that the emblems aren't going to get distributed until the new episode drops. No one is getting their new emblem today. Just FYI. FAQ, what happens to my old armor? Great question. Old legendary armor will be changed as little as possible, but because the change to stat mechanics and types are global changes, old armor pieces will have their stat types, but not their values changed around. When possible, these changes will be to the most similar stat, but with some stats being fundamentally reworked, this won't always be possible. That makes sense. It's like half sunsetting here. A little power creep situation. What about exotic armor? Oh, good question. Updating the exotic armor pursuit is on our roadmap, but won't be part of the initial update that is focusing on legendary armor. So, to make sure that exotics and their build-defining perks remain a compelling option, we are working out a design that will allow players to update their exotic armor to bring their stat bonuses in line with the changes to legendary armor. So I guess you just take an exotic and put it into a box, beep, beep, boop, hit a button. Now it's armor 3.0. Maybe. It only costs you 10 Ascendant shards. God, knock on wood. The exotic class items introduced in the final shape are a special case, even though legendary class items will be gaining full random stats with this update. We don't wish to add additional randomness to the exotic class item chase. Good call. Instead, we will be providing a method for players to update their existing exotic class items with additional stats of their choosing to bring them in line with the stat contribution of the new legendary class items. Whew, a lot of information. More details on the longer term plans for exotic armor coming as we nail them down. Okay. My vault is full. Where am I supposed to store all of this new armor? Call Dado, motherfucker. Ain't that hard? You have his number. 1-800-VAULT-CLEAN. We know that vault pressure is a real problem for many players, even with the recent increases in vault space. True. Outside of adding more space, an option, real solutions that enable long-term storage of more desirable roles are really hard problems. But those are the problems we're penciling into our roadmap at or around next year's second expansion, codename Behemoth. We'll share more details when we have a clear direction for how we think we can solve this one. Whew. Man, they're being very honest. We're like, we're not quite sure what we're going to do yet. We'll figure it out. We'll keep you in the loop. Wow. That is a lot of very interesting information. I didn't think they would be changing armor that drastically. This is a very big change. I guess we'll see if it makes build crafting easier or harder or deeper. But a lot of armor, I feel like, in my vault, which I'm very proud of now, I'm going to be throwing into the trash. Given the choice between two options, over here, we have like, okay, let's keep everything the same. Let's keep all of our armor exactly the same. Let's not make any groundbreaking changes in armor. Let's keep armor 2.0 forever. And then over here, they have armor 3.0. And it's a shake-up system. It's different and new, but the downside is that because it's a new system, it renders a lot of 2.0 stuff worthless. I think between these two choices, I would rather have this. I would rather have a 3.0 armor system. Even it comes with the negative downside of power creeping a lot of our old armor sets. Because it gives you a reason to care. It gives you a reason to grind. I'd rather have a reason to grind and make, like, especially if these new... If it didn't have the new themed set, like the set armor is kind of selling it for me. Again, if they were doing just the stat change, I would be like, I'm kind of more annoyed about that, because that just seems like they're just shaking it up just for the sake of shaking it up. But in 3.0, not only are they changing the armor stat situation as a whole, it's also like we're going to give you a greater depth of build crafting by offering, like, oh, there's interesting sets, and if you have 2 out of 4, you can do an interesting thing, and if you get 4 out of 4, you can do a really interesting thing. You know what I mean? It gives you a reason to care, and I feel like that is what we need. We need depth of build crafting, which I always appreciate, and a reason to care. And I think Armor 3.0 gives both of those things. Now, to be fair, I could be 100% wrong. I have all the armor I'll ever need. I'll have all the armor I will ever need. My vault is filled with spiky, good, powerful Artifice armor. Why would I ever continue to armor grind outside of getting maybe a 1% better roll from a GOA Artifice dungeon armor farm, right? Why would I ever do that? This, at the very least, shakes things up in a meaningful way. We have a higher ceiling potential. We have a deeper build crafting potential. We have a reason to actually play the game and grind. And the possibility of the armor sets as a whole, I think, is a quality idea. And again, I am not going to go full-on glaze mode here. If Bungie introduces Armor 3.0 and it ends up being terrible, fair enough. Fuck it. If it doesn't work, let's go back to what works. But I'm going to give it a chance. I think there's potential here. I'm going to give it a chance. Y'all make up your own minds. I do not speak for anybody but me. I do not speak for anybody but me. That is always the way it's been. It's always the way it will ever be. Is there a Dado clip here? Dare I watch the Dado clip? Let's hear what Dado has to say. I think his expression says it all.
We work jobs, bro. Shut the fuck up. We work jobs, bro. How are we supposed to play video games when I have a job, man? What do you want me to do? Play the game in order to play it? Go play AFK Arena or some shit, bro.
That'd be really great if he did a plug for Raid Shadow Legends right there, which you can AFK play.
What do you mean I gotta play the game in order to play the game? I don't want to play the game. I'm just trying to play the game out here, bro. What do you want me to do? Play the game? Can't believe I gotta play the game in order to play the game, bro.
Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. Dado's a funny guy. We'll see how it pans out. A lot of interesting new information though. But you let me know in either the Twitch chat or in the YouTube comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. This isn't going to be dropping for quite a while. Kind of interesting that they're letting us know about this change so far out. But I guess better to know sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching. I got to get to work on the in-depth video for tomorrow. Peace.